Hello, YouTube. I hope you guys had a fabulous Thanksgiving and a fabulous Black Friday. I know I did. I went to my uncle's house. His wife, she cooks really good. The food was excellent. And then I went to the movies with my dad, with my son. And we went to see this movie Thanksgiving, and it was horrible. I did not like it. My father liked it, but my son said it was okay. It's scary. He don't like scary movies, but the movie Thanksgiving is honestly, it's not scary. It's not scary at all. Um, it's just a little ridiculous and exaggerated. It is based on the story of pre-pandemic at Walmart. I think it was, people were trampled over and people passed away. I don't know if y'all remember, and it was only 2 security guards. I remember that story, but that's the story that they talked about. And basically, the officer wanted revenge on them trampling over her, so he started killing them off or whatever. Very stupid concept. It was way too long for that type of concept, but whatever. Yeah. Yesterday, I took my father to see Malcolm X at the Met, and it was an opera, and it was really good. It literally was the best opera that I've seen. I'm so proud of Black people right now. You had hood people in there, but they behaved. So that's my prayer, that we continue to go, but we behave. Nobody was ratchet. Amen. It was just good to see our people exploring culture. Opera is not really designed like that's the genre. Um, um, that's the genre. That's the genre that we didn't create. We created gospel, we created pop, we created rock and roll. That's what people don't know. But yes, Black folks created rock and roll. We created R&B, hip hop, of course. Techno, we created that too. If you look back in Summer Walker and stuff, like in the 80s, and you listen to their beats, that was the birth of techno. So yeah, we pretty much made every genre of music except for opera. Opera is European. It is. So yeah, but it's good to see our race of people doing well in it, and I love it. I just love it. In the Malcolm X opera, most people, I presume, we couldn't understand the altos and the sopranos, so they put the words on the back of the chair, so I was cool with that. Porgy and Bess, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know what was going on, and I think it's because I didn't really know what they were saying. But with Malcolm X, I was able to follow along, and it was good. It talked about, they murdered his father when he was a boy. He went to jail for doing illegal stuff. When he came out, he found Islam, became an activist. He said some things that wasn't right. They talk about the chicken come home to roost. They said the N-word. I'm like, oh, they said the N-word in the opera? Nigger, Nigger. And nigga was his name. So yeah, it was just interesting. The way it ended was so, like, they got right to the point. They set the chairs up. He said assalamu alaikum, assalam, and got shot. Bop, bop, bop. And then it ended. Like, they didn't have him fall out or nothing. Just, But it was very well done. Very well done. They had dancing. Like, this was definitely an urban opera. My father's a baby boomer. So those of you that's baby boomers from New York City, you know that what you call it? You know that the opera back in the days, you had to wear a suit. Everybody had a suit and tie on. There was no bar. There was no snacks to be eaten in the main area or anything like that. You know, things have changed for the better. The very first time I went to the Metropolitan Opera House, the very first time that I went was for my 16th birthday. I saw Samson and Delilah, and I noticed that the majority of us was dressed up, but some people were dressed down. So, and then the second time I went, my son was 6. He couldn't have been no more than 6. I took him, because this was 2015 January, and yeah, about 8 years ago. And my son understood everything. I took him to see Hansel and Gretel. I didn't know what was going on, but you know, we went to see Hansel and Gretel, and in between that, I've seen ballets. I take my father to Alvin Ailey. You know, it's cool, you know. And since they started doing black operas, like we went to Porgy and Bess 2 years ago. And with this, I really wanted to see the Malcolm X thing, you know. So I'm like, you know, let me try it out again or whatever. And it was very worth it. The ticket was cheap, only $40. It was really $30 each. And then the service charge, not bad. We didn't have the best seats because up top, you don't really have knee space. So if you're tall, I recommend get the seats at the side or behind the orchestra. I went to Afro Punk this year, and India Ari performed. I put that up on YouTube. I sat in the orchestra area. Tickets were really affordable. I just went on my own. But yeah, I'm proud of the Met, and they're bringing black culture into the Met. Maybe one day Jay-Z will come. That would be nice. But yeah, that's what I like to do. As y'all know, I love all genres of music. I'm open to anything. I love museums. I love operas. I love concerts. I love the arts. I love everything. There's nothing that I don't like. I don't like basketball and baseball. That's 2 things you will not see me at. But yeah, I'm just open to anything. You know, I'm cool with anything. But today, I wanted to talk about sitcoms because yesterday, before I left out, I was watching Sanford and Son, and I just couldn't get into it. It's not a bad show. It's just, it doesn't hold my attention. And I was like, let me talk about sitcoms then and now. I don't know if I talked about it before. I think I talked about Moesha before, just as a show. But I wanted to talk about sitcoms. We don't have any sitcoms now, which is a shame. We have reality TV. And sitcoms before were actually positive. They portrayed us in a positive light. Now, you know, these shows really don't. You know, if I didn't know black women, let's say if I wasn't black and I didn't know any black women, between social media and reality TV, they are not portraying us very well at all. Social media makes us look desperate. You do have black women that are desperate, yes, but it's just bad that social media gets it intact. Or even, you know, Love and Hip Hop. It just really doesn't portray us in a very nice way. And it just shows the hatred towards black women. It's sad. And certain sitcoms, even though they were good and they had good intentions, they were very negative. Like, a coworker of mine told me how white people wrote Good Times. And I'm like, yeah, you could tell. And I wanted to talk a little bit about Good Times because, first of all, the first sitcom that us as a people ever had was Amos and Andy. Amos and Andy was a balance. Amos and Andy was the template for black comedy. They did a documentary, and you had some black comedians that paid homage to Amos and Andy, because Amos and Andy, you had a man. So basically, Amos and Andy. Amos was a married man. He had his own taxi and limousine service business, right? Andy, he always had money, but he never really had a job. Kingfish, he didn't have a job, so they let him be charge of the lodge. Sapphire is the aggressive black woman. So basically, she's like a Pam, like no nonsense, don't play with her, whatever. These are all stereotypes, right? It's very stereotypical. But, and that's what I noticed about when I was watching Sanford and Son. You have the lady coming in, and she's like the auntie of the grandma. Sanford and Son, he's an old man. And a lot of sitcoms were very stereotypical. That's just what it is. And if you notice, when you compare Amos and Andy to Honeymooners, everybody's working. So a lot of people didn't. The NAACP got together and they took Amos and Andy off the air because they felt like we already got to deal with the negative with civil rights and everything else. We do not need Kingfish and Andy as bums on a television show, which I can't blame them. I like the show because it shows balance, and I think that's important, right? You have to have balance in a TV show regardless. You can't just show everybody's doing well because that's not realistic, right? And you can't show everybody doing bad because that's not realistic either, right? I didn't like Good Times because there's no balance. The father had a low-paying job. The mother had no job at all. Thelma gets with a man that's a football player. He has an injury, so he moves in with her. The little brother that was supposed to be a lawyer, he doesn't even go to college at all. Nobody goes to college. Nobody amounts to anything. That's very, very negative because everybody I know from the projects, their grandmothers are still there, but they moved out. Or me, I've been here 11 years. I'm on a waiting list. Like, I'm trying to get out, you know what I'm saying? And I'm doing positive things. Like, I graduated college. My son is on the honor roll. He has a father in his life. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, but then you have people in the projects that, yes, they are on welfare. They don't work. But it's not everybody. So with Good Times, I couldn't get with it because it's like every time they try to get out the projects, they couldn't. It was a stumbling block. The first attempt that they try to get out the projects, the father died. So then the mother has to go to work. Then the mother is become stressed out, whatever. And it's like every time they had an opportunity, then Thelma meets a good man that's a football player. He gets an injury. It's like, why is it that they just, every opportunity, they just, they just couldn't get out of their situation? That's generational. That's a generational curse, And to be honest with you, and everybody knows this in the hood, anytime you see a generation to generation that's in the projects, most of the time it's because they want to be there. Most of the time it's a lack of desire to get out. If people want to get out and they get in their education and they doing everything they can to get out, you're going to get out. That's just the universe. That's just, now some people, they might have real bad luck, but for the most part, like I have a neighbor, right? She had 5 siblings and her grandmother raised all of them. All of them left the projects, as they should. They have their own families, they got jobs, work for the post office. They doing well. Everybody's doing well in life. My neighbor, she graduated college. She says she's getting ready to get her master's. And she chooses to stay with grandma. And that's a perfect example of everybody's doing all right. Because that's how it be. Like, yeah, when you little or whatever, you can't control your money when you young. But once you get of age to say, hey, I'm going to get up out of here, and you do so, Everybody's gone except for my neighbor. Everybody left. And that's how it is for most people. You know, I know another girl I used to work with, her grandmother raised her. She moved out, got her own apartment, got her bachelor's, you know, and moved in with, I don't know where she's staying at now. I don't even know if she's married or whatever, but, you know, yeah, people move out of the projects. People don't stay in the project. Even another girl I worked with, her grandmother passed away and gave her the apartment when she was 19. And she was there from the age of 19 into her 30s. She's like 3 years older than me. She moved to PA and she's married with children now, you know. But that's her, and she was in the projects at least 10 years, maybe more. She was living in the projects downtown Brooklyn. And look, she's not there no more. So she had plans, and I remember she said it. She was like, I'm not staying in the projects. I got plans. Like, I'm not staying in the projects. I'm going to get out. You know, I'm like, I know that's right, you know. And everybody who planned on leaving, they left. Because that's the universe. That's life, you know. So, and even if you don't leave, nobody is that dirt poor. I don't know anybody that's that dirt poor. Like, they don't even go out to eat. They don't go to the movies. They don't do anything as a family. They just home in the projects. It's very depressing. So for me, no, I do not like good times. Now, Moesha I love Moesha because she had that balance. Moesha had a 2-parent household. The father was a car salesman. The stepmom was her principal. And they lived in a nice house. However, Niecy had 10 brothers and sisters. She was poor. Hakeem came from a single-parent household, right? And Kim, although her parents weren't together, her father was active in her life. He was rich. He had money. And they show that in the Parkers in, like, the first season. Kim turns 18 and they in the mansion or whatever. And, you know, her father and her mom, they co-parent or whatever. Nikki tries to make him look bad, but at the end of the day, he was in her life and he was paying for college. So, yeah. But, and they show how Nikki, she went from job to job. You know, she kind of, you know, as you do when you in college sometimes, you know, your job is not always steady, you know. So they show that with the both of them. And then when it was time to graduate, everybody graduated but Kim, because Kim was a goof off. Kim didn't take school seriously. But what happened? Kim opened up her own business. Very, very, very realistic. And I'm glad that they showed that to kids to say, hey, if you don't apply yourself and you don't go to class and you don't do what you're supposed to do, you can end up like Kim and you won't graduate. I'm glad they showed that. And then with Nikki, she took it serious. She graduated. You know, Stevie took it serious. She graduated. T took it serious. He graduated too. Everybody graduated except for Kim. And very realistic because she ain't do her work. So Professor Ogilvy, you know, I like that, black college professor. Listen, I was in and out of college since 2007. I've never seen no black man as a professor. Never seen it. So to see it on TV, it's like, okay, it's TV, but that's a goal. You know, that could happen. Now, I've met someone that was a professor, and when you Google him, you know, he used to be a professor at BMCC, so I have met someone. But to see it in my classroom, I never saw that. I think I had, Mega Evers, I had a world history professor, black man. But that was just one black man. Everybody else was either a woman or a white man or a white woman. Especially in Mercy College, it's predominantly white professors. I had one black professor. She was a female. You know, so for a black man to be a professor, I thought that was good. I thought that was like, okay, they showing out black men in a positive light. T, a regular boy, you know, youngster, but he's in college. He balanced because he was partying. He had him, Stevie and Kim, they had a group, and he was able to balance that out with dating, and he graduated. So I'm happy they showed, that yes, as a young black man, you can achieve, and that's important. And too bad they don't have more shows like that. They had A Different World, which was a spinoff from Bill Cosby. So they had some black men, but it's important to see black men in college, and I wish they could do more TV shows with black men in college, not just black men with professions, but show them it's okay to party, it's okay to have a life, it's okay to be young and still do you and obtain your degree. Really show people that's human. Moesha was very, very realistic. It showed that the human side of her father, even though a lot of people didn't like it. Hell, a lot of fathers do be capping. So, but yeah, a lot of people didn't like that about the show because it started being negative, and she found out her cousin was actually her brother, and family secrets was exposed, and a lot of people didn't like it. But I like the realness, I like the rawness. So her mom passed away. They show that happens to a lot of black folks. A lot of people lose their mom way before their time. So they show that that realness. Her and Dee did not get along. She did not like Dee, and Dee didn't like her either. Dee was a horrible stepmom. Every time something happened, she always blamed her. Like, Moesha did this. When the whole the drug thing, when they found marijuana, they automatically assumed it was Moesha. Like, oh, remember, she wasn't here for. And it's like, as a stepmom, your job is not to do that. You ain't supposed to, because you're creating a wedge between a daughter and her father. You don't do that. But they found out it was Miles. He was smoking weed. So they talked about that. So I like the realness of it. Amos and Andy was the template, definitely. Sapphire, she don't play. Pam don't play. You always have a character in sitcoms where, like, even Nikki, she's funny, but she don't play. That aggressive, like, don't play strong black woman image. Yeah. So, but now it's like we have absolutely no sitcoms. All we have is reality TV, and it's not good because people look at it and think that's who we are, and that's not who we are. It's not. Black people, we come in all shapes and forms and different walks of life. We all have a similar struggle, but not all of us are the same. And that's what it's looking like. I wear wigs too, but the wigs, the lashes, it's starting to look uniform, and people are making judgments. It's just not good. Even my small platform on this YouTube channel, I make sure I show things that people like. You got people who live in the suburbs that don't even go to operas. Like, I live in the ghetto and I go to operas. I like nice stuff. I like to go to nice restaurants. I like to, enjoy the finer things of life. Just because you live in a certain neighborhood, that don't mean that you can't enjoy life. And that's what Good Times was. Like, they wasn't enjoying life. They wasn't. They was just in a cage. And you can't allow, you don't have to be extravagant, but you get the cheap tickets. Get, look for the discount. Go when it's, when it's affordable. That's what I do. And no, I don't have the latest things. I don't have Gucci. But I look decent. I didn't like the fact that Good Times, they all look raggedy. Because especially back in those days, People look nice. People dress nice. I have pictures in my own family photo albums. They grew up poor. They didn't have much, but they were sharp. They made sure that you look decent. I didn't like that about Good Times at all. Like, JJ always looked like he rolled out of bed. Only one that looked decent was Thelma. She looked alright. But they just made them look so poor and decrepit. And the way they was living. It's like, your furniture could look better than that. You could set your place up better. You know what I mean? It's just, no, that's not how. And it's crazy because people who don't live in the projects or they don't know anybody from the projects, they look at Good Times and they think that that's how everybody living. There's another show called PJs, and it's a comedy. It's very funny. Eddie Murphy did the sound, and Loretta Devine, she did the voice for the wife. It's hilarious, but it's very stereotypical. But it's a lot of facts in it too. Like, homeless man, he always around the building. Things get broken, roaches, like you name it, they talked about it. All the problems in the projects. But again, stereotypical, and everybody don't live like that. Everybody do not live like that. Some people have. I have decent furniture in my house. I go places. Beyond the projects, beyond the ghetto. They show Eddie Murphy, Loretta Devine. They a old couple. They ain't been nowhere. They ain't going nowhere. He grumpy and old. Don't even want to go to the movies. Like, come on now. Go to the movies. Go to the mall. Do something outside the ghetto. For your own mental health. It's for your own mental health, But yes, sitcoms, they need to bring it back, but more positive ones. And it's a shame that we don't have it. We don't have it. TV is not even TV no more. TV is like Netflix and Tubi. And like, we don't really have TV. We just have movies and you stream stuff, But yeah, and a lot of people stereotype because of TV. How many of us have watched TV? Like, I used to think all white people had money. I really thought that. Because when you watch Lifetime, everybody live in nice houses. Everybody got great careers. No, that's not the truth. Not all white people. Or for somebody who's not black and they watch Good Times, or, they thinking everybody's poor. Just everybody poor and decrepit in the projects. Like, no education. The mother trying to do better for herself, get her GED. The husband don't want her to get her GED. Her GED, that's basic shit. Like, what? That's, I'm like, can't relate. No. That's ridiculous. Like, but yeah, sitcoms, where are they? And where has TV gone now? Nowhere. And those are my thoughts.